Well, I know you guys like to see things that I redo from Dollar Tree, so as I was walking through the store the other day, I saw these cute guitars and I decided to do a small makeover by fitting it with a guitar strap. Stay tuned and see what a fun and easy project this is. All right, I had a lot of positive reactions to the last Dollar Tree makeover, so I thought the dolls might like a little guitar. I happened to see this as I was walking through my Dollar Tree the other day. Now this was over by where the party games, like the card games and that kind of thing were, and I thought it's pretty darn close. It looked pretty darn close to the right size for the dolls. I came home, I measured it, and sure enough, it's a good size for our 18-inch dolls. One thing I don't like is it only has 4 strings, and I tried to come up with a way to, I've been kind of playing with several different things. I bought a couple of these, trying to figure out how to add 2 more strings, and I couldn't successfully do it. We might figure that out in a future project and do another one of these. But I really like the lines of this, I like the size, but I want to add a strap to it. So I went over to the Crafter's Square aisle and I found this ribbon. And I thought this would look really nice with this. It's got a gold streak down the middle. This ribbon is 5/8 of an inch wide and you get 9 feet of it. So that's a good amount of ribbon. We'll be able to use this for a lot of things. I've been kind of thinking about how to put this on. So once we construct our strap, we'll need to fasten it to the guitar. For one end, we are going to use some black embroidery floss, and I'll show you that when we get to it. But I wanted to add one of those little button things at this end to fasten the strap to down there. And I kind of looked through everything I had. I looked through all my jewelry findings, and then I looked in my toolbox, and I had this little screw. This came in a package of, I think it was mending plates or something. I don't know what kind of screw this is. I will have photos of them on the blog post so you can kind of see what it is, and I'll take a picture of one with a ruler so you can really see the size. But this is pretty short. The thing I liked was the shape. It had this nice shape to it. So let's measure. I'm going to put that in off camera, but I'm going to show you how to set up for it. I've got a paint pen. I've got a white paint pen so I can make a mark. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to lay my guitar on here, and it's about 4 inches wide at the widest point. So, and this would be a lot easier if I could have my head where the camera is. So I'm going to make a line up right about there, and it doesn't have to be perfectly in the middle. It's okay if you're off a little bit. There's no one's going to come and look and measure it precisely and tell you did it wrong. Then this is about 3/4 of an inch wide. I'm making a mess. Practicing on the other one off camera was so much easier because I wasn't having to work around the camera. All right, make a mark there. Cap my pen and then immediately go in, and while this is still wet, it wipes off really, really well. I'm going to double check that I've got that in the middle. I'm going to use this drill bit to start my hole, and then I'm going to screw this in with a screwdriver so that this part, this shaped part, is exposed. When I have it the way I want it, I'll come back and we'll start working on making the strap. All right, that screw is now in here, and I seated it up just before where the threads end so that we just have that little flared part. And I just looked up, this is called a flathead screw. So now we are going to start working on our strap. And we're going to start by using some embroidery floss, and I decided I wanted to put 2 beads on the one end, and I'll show you why here in a second. So we're going to prep. We are going to cut a piece of embroidery floss, and I have 2 beads. Now these came out of this package. I got this at Walmart a very long time ago. I use these a lot in a lot of different things, and the package is lasting me forever. There are so many beads in there. You don't need that exact bead though. You need a small bead with a small hole. And the first thing I'm going to do, I cut a piece of embroidery floss a couple of inches long. The exact length is not important because we are going to trim it. Now this would be a lot easier if I was not working with black, but I want to match it to my strap. And since my strap is black, I am using black on here. Rather than have you watch me try to do this, which is going to become very painful, I'm going to turn the camera off. I'm going to put this bead onto here. Then I'm going to fold this in half and I'm going to make this end glued together so I can slip another bead over it, and I'll come back. All right, I got that on there. It does help if you coat the end, both the single end and then the double end when you fold it in half. But now what I have is I have a cord with a lock on it. I'm going to cut another piece of embroidery floss that's longer. So I'm going to cut a few inches long. And this one, I'm actually going to tie a knot fairly close to the end. This will make it hold on a little bit better because we are going to put these into the end of our ribbon. I like to tie an end, do this because this way it doesn't seem to slide in the glue as much. So now I have this piece and I have this one. This one will not need to be quite this long. So I'm going to cut the end of that off. And I have cut a piece of my ribbon. This ribbon is cut 14.5 inches long. And you want it to be fairly straight across the end. I cut this end a little crooked, so I'm going to, it's still crooked. I measured on my doll, and that was the length I felt was the best length for her. You can try it, and this will be adjustable to a certain degree because of this end. So now, making sure I'm working on the same side of the ribbon on both ends, I'm going to put some glue here. And I'm going to put, this is the piece that is just folded in half with a knot in the middle. And I'm going to put that knot into the glue and I'm going to push it down into that glue. By having the knot there, it will help it to not pull out once we get this all glued together. Now being careful that I'm working on the same side of my ribbon. So I've got glue on the same side on both ends. And I am going to cut this back a little more. I am going to put glue on this end. Making sure that both of these are past there. And I want this glue to dry so that these are held on really well. And then when this is dry, I will come back and we'll fold the ends to create our strap. All right, so that first batch of glue is dry. And what I'm going to do is take some more glue. And I'm just using tacky glue. And by the way, you can get this size Eileen's tacky glue at Dollar Tree, which is nice because that is a nice dependable glue. And I've got clamps. I've got a clamp for each end, and those are also happen to be Dollar Tree clamps, which I fell in love with a couple of years ago. All right, then just kind of fold it up, make a point, and clamp it. Make sure that your bead is down away from your glue. You don't want to get that glued. Same with this end. We are going to put glue across. We're going to fold the ends up to make a point that encases that end of the floss, where the knot is. And again, clamp. And now that will need to dry. And when that's dry, we'll come back and I'll show you how to put it on the guitar and see how it looks with the doll. All right, the glue is all dried on these, so this is ready to put on the guitar. But I thought first I'd show you, I made another one of these loop pieces so that you can see what I did, and I made it bigger. So first I put the piece of embroidery floss through the bead, and then I put the two ends together. I glued them together, and once this glue is dry, you can trim this to a sharper point, put both ends through, and then you've got this loop. And what happens is you can put this around the button on the guitar, push it down, and it will hold in place. And I'll have a picture of this on the blog post. So now I did make my loop a little smaller than I wanted to. It's still big enough to fit, but it is a little close. So put this on. I do suggest making that a little bigger than I did, but now let's make sure I'm making this the right direction. Yeah. And then I will probably have to tie this off camera because I don't think I'm able to keep it under camera. If you need to, you can put some glue on the end of there, let it dry, and then you can get it under. Just kind of work this under the strings, which I am going to do off camera because my battery's getting low and I don't want to be messing around here and have the battery die on me. So I'll be right back. All right, that is now threaded under the strings on the guitar, pretty much like you would on a real guitar. I just tied a simple knot on here. You could add some glue and trim those strings down if you don't like the messy look of that. But that is how this goes together. I will get some photos of the doll with the guitar, which you will see, which you will have already seen on the video at the beginning, and also they'll be over on the blog post. Be sure and go over to the blog post to see more photos, more information. If you have any questions or any comments, be sure and ask in the comments below. If you like the video, hit the like button. What kinds of things would you like to see on the channel in future videos? If you enjoy my content and haven't subscribed, hit that subscription button and the notification bell so you know when I put up a new video. Thank you very much for watching today, and I will talk to you next time. Bye.